And we are live! Fantastic! Okay, so everybody, tonight we are doing something that I'm really excited about. We are sculpting My Hero Academia's Deku, which is going to be a lot of fun. I hope it's going to be quite an experience overall. It's going to be my first character in a long time, but let's go ahead and we'll get started. Jalen Griffin, welcome to the stream, man. How you doing? How are you doing? How's your senior year going? We'll pull this kind of out of the way. And yeah, all right, cool. So let's go ahead and get started here. And what we can do, we'll just create a new collection to get started. Call this Deku. And then we will move the cube from that other collection. All right, and we'll rename this Deku Base. And then we'll create our sculpt here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and merge these at the center here. That'll give us a singular point. I'm going to move over to the left-hand side, though. That way I can play around with these settings and people watching can take a look at them later. So what we're going to do, we're going to add a couple of modifiers here real quick. We will add the mirror modifier. And then we will add the skin modifier. And then we will add the subdivision surface modifier. Now what that's going to do is it's going to give us this fake skin around our mesh right now. And in fact, if we were to turn off that skin modifier, let's see, it's not that one, it's this one, right? We'd only have a single vertex in the middle there. But we'll turn the skin modifier on and we will create our base for our character. Something that could be and should be quite a bit of fun. Now we added the modifiers in the order of mirror, skin, and subdivision surface, so that way we could just work on one side and everything would generate on the other. We don't have to do multiple. So there we go. Hope everyone is having a great night tonight. I know I am. All right, we'll do something like that. Now this is just going to give us a basic layout. In fact, let's go to wireframe mode so we can take a look at what's going on here. And we'll move this up just a little bit. I want to try to get, there we go. There we go. Now we have a full edge loop going all the way down, and it's going to be really important later on. So, cool. And now we can mark this one as the root. Here we go. Hey, Francie, how you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Welcome back. Just hanging out, chilling tonight, making a character. My first sculpt in a long time, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Something I'm really excited about, to be honest. All right, we'll take this leg down just a little bit. And I'm just going to get the basic frame of the body, okay? And then we can kind of come up here and say there's our shoulder. And then we'll take this up for our neck. And we can do here, Control A. Puff that out a bit. And then we've got our shoulder, and we could pull down from there. But instead of doing that, let's go ahead, Control A, move that out just a tad. Do the same thing here. And we're really going to need to make this hip section a little bit better. Now, Deku is pretty flat, so we don't have to worry about a ton of like adding in a ton of muscle definition, just because he's a pretty flat character overall. But we want to make sure that he doesn't just look like he doesn't look weird. So take that a little bit further, maybe move that out a tad, not too much. Actually, that's not terrible. So let's pull up a neck here. And that's a little thick. Not in a good way. So Maybe something like that. Increases leg mass all the way down. Yeah, honestly, sculpting anime characters can be really annoying just because of how disproportionate they are to the human body. Like, I know that they don't have the right face shapes because they're the Japanese anime style, which is fine for anime, but turning them into 3D makes them look strange. We'll do something like that. And then Deku has these massive feet. Like his ankles are pretty thin, and then his feet are just ginormous. So we're gonna try to embody that in our sculpt here. Oh, but I didn't leave an ankle. So we're gonna go ahead and subdivide here just to get ourselves that ankle. What's that? Okay, how is the mix between my voice? This seems really loud. Let me see if I can lower that even further. That just seems loud. No reason for it to be super loud. Okay. So now that we've got an ankle, we can control A in on this ankle here, and then grab these 4 vertices, look at that from the front, and kind of pull them out. Now ultimately, we're not going to get super great on this boot. We will end up having to kind of remodel it and do it perhaps in a little bit better way. But we do want to get that base shape there so that we can just pull it apart and we don't have to create the whole thing on our own. We want to do as much of this with the skin modifier as we can. And then we'll go ahead and bend Deku's knees a little bit. So we'll take these forward. That'll be better. And I think maybe we've gone too big on his body. And maybe just too wide overall. Maybe something like that is actually a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's actually more consistent. Let's check what that looks like solid shaded. Yeah, that's not too bad. Because he's muscular, but he's like super lean muscle. So. Okay. Kind of got that. I don't like the way that that's coming down. This is by far probably the hardest part of the whole modeling characters process, just getting this set up, because the more work you can do right now in the setup process with the skin modifier and these vertices, the less work you'll have to do with sculpting. Now we're still probably going to put in a ton of work sculpting, just to get maybe like the clothes looking right and everything, but we won't have to do a lot of the base shape formation because we'll already have solved that problem. Bless you. My wife's hanging out in the office tonight, guys. Everybody say hey.
Hi, guys. Sorry.
Okay, so this needs to be a shoulder, so we'll move this in on the x-axis just like that. And he is a little tall right now, so we're gonna grab these and just kind of move it down, and then these move it down too. So definitely super important to get these proportions absolutely correct here, because if they're off, you're gonna notice it, and it's gonna be a lot harder to fix it after you've approved the model. Okay, we'll take this down, maybe A-frame. Pull that down. Now that looks super awkward just because his arms are pretty far out there. So let's see what we can do. Move this over. That fits the shoulder joint a little bit better, which then we can move these over as well. And that's going to overall kind of transform what we're looking at. Okay, so we do want to create a little bit of a bend in the body, right? Nobody's back is completely straight. So we can move this forward just a little bit, give him a little bit more of a belly because the spine does curve inward. So now we can see that in our actual model. And then continue to play around with, maybe take it up here just a little bit. Okay, now he doesn't have super big traps. He's got pretty much like small frame body, and he's got a very thin neck, so we can kind of show that off here with his thin neck. And then he's got actually a normal sized head, which for anime can be strange when you see it. But okay, let's go ahead, we'll increase the size here another bit, move that down. Okay, and that is giving us a basic frame for the overall model. Is it perfect? No. Is it everything we've ever wanted in the base of a character? Absolutely not. But it is a good start to this whole process. And since we're going to be basically ripping everything in half and separating it out to do his clothing, it's not a bad way to get going. We've made sure that we have a solid edge loop running all the way along the front here. Which actually, do I have to go into edit mode to get that? No. We've made sure we have a solid edge loop running all the way in the front here, so we can cleanly cut it in half and we don't have to worry about extra pieces. So let's go back into wireframe here and look at this a bit more. So can we, if we move this down, what happens to the head? That's probably fine. We'll get in there with a snake hook brush and make his super sharp jawline. Okay. Also, he's always in his school uniform, so like getting a really good image of what he looks like is hard to do, and I don't necessarily want to Google Deku swimsuit. I just feel like that would be a bad decision. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that's going to come up with some weird art. Okay. All right. I'm kind of okay with that. It's not perfect, but I'm kind of okay with it. And then if we take a look at like his costume, where we're going to have to break things apart at, his boots come over his knee as far as wherever he'd go. So we'll actually end up pulling it off like right about here. That'll be his entire boot. And then we'll have his jumpsuit all the way. And then since this is Infinite 100 Deku, he will have his sleeve stop right about there, and then we'll have normal skin underneath. So most of this is going to be clothing, which will make it a little easier to do. We won't have to do a whole lot of body sculpting. But clothing sculpting is a difficult thing on its own. So we'll see how this works out. This will probably be 2 or 3 streams overall to get the final completed work. But okay, cool. So I have done all the analysis and basically everything I need to see right now. So let's create this hand here. All right, so we have a wrist vertex there. Let's actually move that down even. We'll just move that pretty close to the bottom and then pull off our 5 fingers, or 4 fingers and a thumb. Now that doesn't do some great things for our model, and in fact, to make this easier, we're just going to go ahead and hide everything that isn't in this hand here. But we have this problem where the mesh is bunching up on itself, and we don't want that. So to fix that, what we're going to do is we're just going to shrink the skin modifier in that area, and that'll be okay. But what we have to do a little bit further is on the skin modifier, we want to select that vertex in the middle of the hand and hit mark loose. And when we do that, now we've got a hand that actually is going to act like a hand, but we've still got to position these vertices a little bit better. So we can then extrude this down. There's the first knuckle, second knuckle, third knuckle, right like that. Which that might not have been the best decision. So let's grab those and resolve those vertices. And the reason we did that is so that now we can shrink these fingers down and get ourselves a more accurate decline of finger width. And the thumb isn't going to be that big, so. Okay, and then we're going to grab these other fingers. We'll just move them out a little bit, something like that. And then we'll try to place these knuckles where they belong. So we can hide this finger. We'll do it at a finger at a time. And maybe rotate that, move it just a bit. And then we can bring back everything. Hide these, grab this next one. Okay. Oh, that makes it a lot better. All right, so now that we've shrunk that wrist down, the hand looks much more like a hand, which is good. And then we can just adjust these fingers. So let's actually bring these back. And we're gonna have to shrink these down just a tad. Scale them to the same position on the X and Z axes. And this will help with actually figuring out if they're the right size or not. Okay, so this middle knuckle is actually further down than the other two, which means this needs to be down a little bit further. And we can kind of rotate this out a bit, move this finger out. All right, let's check how this is being generated out here. That is not great. The skin modifier can be a little finicky when you're starting to work with vertices like this. But let's see what we can do to make this a little bit more visible. Okay, well, we're not going to be able to really do anything. We could see the generated wireframe. That might be helpful, but since we're working in wireframe, we really don't need that. Okay, so that's just what we're dealing with. We're not going to be able to get super great information here, but we can get what we get. Okay.
And up in the clouds, but I've always felt that something's missing. That was until I found you right there in the crowd. You came into my life and started a fire. You made me feel like I could touch the sky. Oh, there's nothing missing now that you're my desire. Now all I have to do is to make it mine. 'Cause I know, and you know what.
Okay, so that's not too bad. The fingers are now being actually generated the way that we want them to be, but things are a little weird. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to position the bottom of these fingers to make the hand more hand-like. Okay, that's a little bit better. And then we can take right here, maybe shrink this down just a bit, and shrink that down a bit too. Rotate and move. That's probably fine. And then we can all right, so now if we check this out, we've got a pretty decent finger, which is great. That's what we're trying to do. But we've got a problem with the thumb here, so we need to fix that thumb just a little bit. So let's take a look at this from the front, and maybe move this vertex back just a little bit, and that's not really helping. So let's try shrinking it down. Nope, that didn't really do anything. All right, whatever. We're gonna have to sculpt that hand anyways. I'm okay with that imperfection in the mesh. So right here is where I'm talking about if you're following along. This section right here, the skin modifier is doing something dumb. Whatever, it's not that big a deal. But from here, which actually, oh, I can't wait to sculpt that head better. Oh, that's fine. We'll use the snake hook brush there, get that better. These legs are actually probably pretty Deku-like. The torso is probably pretty Deku-like. The problem that I have at this point really is these fingers need to be, or they need to have curves in them. And then we got to fix these arms. These arms are not what I would expect on Deku. But once we fix those, yeah, we'll be ready to, save our base and then move on and start sculpting and actually get some work done. So the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna grab these fingers here, and we don't want that, so we'll leave that. And we'll subdivide these, and we're gonna subdivide them twice, which you can't actually see because jump over here. So we have the operating panel here. I just subdivided by right-clicking and then increase the number of cuts there. So let me go back. And then now that we've got these extra joints in our fingers, we're going to position these fingers so that there's a little bit of a curl. And that curl will help when we inevitably get to rigging this. Now, I understand that we're going to do some sculpting here, and you understand that too. But if we can get the basic shape of the curl down, right, like just a normal hand just kind of hanging limp, and we get that in there. So if we can get that curl down when we get into sculpting, we don't have to do as much work. All right, so just something that I want to make sure we've got done before we get any further. So what I'm actually going to do, we're going to grab these top ones only, and then we'll hide those so we can't mess with them. And we'll do the same thing with this thumb. We'll just go ahead and close that off. I'm not really quite happy with the thumb yet. I feel like it needs to go down a little bit further, and we'll lengthen that out before we do anything else. But all right, so let's start curving this finger, right? So we need to rotate that and then kind of move it in. And that's actually pretty okay. Okay, that's fine. Content manager, appreciate you. And we'll move the curl and maybe make it have a little bit more curl. And maybe a little thicker finger. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to make the fingers on each finger thicker overall. All right, now where we're at, right? The middle fingers are generally a decent bit longer, so we're actually just gonna move that up on the z-axis there. It gives us our curl, and it makes our finger shorter overall. And then each one should be kind of going a little bit more curved than the others. And we'll rotate this along the axis. What's up, Chroma? How you doing, girl? Welcome back. I hope you're having a good start to your week. Okay. So we need to fix the thumb now, but if we check on this, what we do have some curvature going on in these fingers. It's maybe not as curved as it could be. We could get in here with this second knuckle up, and we could really improve the curvature. But I'm actually kind of okay with this. Where it's at. And we'll just do an edge slide up here by hitting GG twice. You had a lovely day today. The big parade was today. It was a lot of fun. You have an uncountable number of plastic necklaces. Fantastic. Well done. My day was pretty good. Overall, actually. Pretty good. Very boring. Didn't have a lot of stuff going on today. It was mostly sitting around doing nothing, waiting for the next project to appear, and watching a lot of YouTube videos at work. Which, you know, I feel like a lot of people would like that, but I just can't stand it. I love to work, and I enjoy like doing good work, and not having work to do drives me nuts. I wonder if we can fix this by just rotating this on the z-axis and moving it forward a little bit. Whatever, we'll sculpt it. It'll be fine. Okay. Joan Prank, hola, welcome. Welcome. I understand you a little bit. Sorry, dude, I don't speak Spanish very well, if at all. So, Master Muffin, welcome to the stream. I'm glad to have you here, Joan. I'm sorry. I don't do Spanish super great. I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah, but I can understand you a little bit. I read it a little bit. My wife yells at me in Spanish sometimes. So. But how you doing, Master Muffin? Okay. Honestly, the hand is good. Let's check the solid wireframe. So here we go. We have the basic form of Deku. We will fix this. There's not a whole lot we can do moving forward. Like, we could grab all of these vertices and move them closer together, and I think that'll help us with our overall shape a little bit more. We want to turn off the wireframe. Yeah. So that'll help us with our overall shape. It's good. Yeah, okay. So I got that, Joan. I got the welcome from the, or greetings from the Dominican Republic. And I thought the second part of your question was, do you understand me? But I wasn't sure. So I just was like, start talking. But yeah, I'm glad you're here. If you have questions about what I'm doing or something else you found on the channel or just Blender in general, feel free to ask. I used to teach this for like an actual job and career, and I don't do that anymore. Now I'm a full-time software developer, but I enjoyed it a while back. And I always enjoy helping people. So don't ever feel like, oh, I can't ask him a question, he's busy or whatever. Just ask. I enjoy it. Okay, and then we'll move this a little closer, and we're gonna rotate this hand just a bit. And I feel like that's gonna be the overall form, which is great and everything, but let's grab that. And we're gonna make our pivot point the active element, and then we're just gonna rotate this arm out. And the reason we're doing that is because when we go to add a rig, so if we go into Shift A and then we go to rigging, do I have Rigify add-on? I do not, but at some point I will be doing the Rigify add-on. So I'm gonna go to edit preferences and we're just gonna enable that real quick, and then I'll show you why we're doing this A-frame. There we go. Yes, I'll take Rigify, please. Thank you very much. Okay, so now when we do Shift A and then go to Armature, we can actually pull up a human meta rig, and if we just scale this up, then we'll get the whole thing right away. Kind of line it up with the shoulders there. But that's basically it. So this will give us a much better or easier rigging experience. So definitely put on that Rigify add-on if you plan on doing any rigging in Blender at all. It's a fantastic thing. Look at all the bones that it just gives you that it'll auto. You can make it auto connect with. So definitely worth it, my opinion. But we're going to go and delete that for now because we don't need the meta rig at the moment. And we'll get back to this base. Okay, so with that, we can take it out, the A-frame out just a bit further, not too much further, because we want it to be a relaxed position and we don't want the mesh to be really stretched or weird when we finally get back to doing this. So take that A-frame out a little bit further, and that should basically be done. See how much closer I can move these legs together. Yep, that's what I thought. So I can't move the legs too much closer together because then I'll lose this edge loop in the middle here. And since we're going to be making this entire thing, and we'll be cutting things in half and applying mirror modifiers, it's not the best idea to, since we're doing it that way, actually, you want to make sure you have an edge loop going all the way from the top of the head to the in between the crotch, so that way you can neatly cut everything in half. Just something to think about as you're making your models, your characters. All right, cool. So I think this is ready to save. Let me save this real fast, and then we can continue on, and we will duplicate this. So Shift D to duplicate, and we'll leave this in place. Now what I want to do is create a new collection for backups, and I'll do this just in case I ruin everything, or I realize that I need to go back and fix something that wasn't quite right, we'll go back and we'll fix it. So we'll move the backup base. This is now Deku base 1. We can go ahead and actually hide this collection overall, so we don't need to see anything in it. And then we can go to our modifiers that we have active, and we'll apply them in the order that we have them added. So we'll apply the mirror modifier first, then the skin modifier, then the subdivision surface modifier, which is great. And now this is our mesh, which is exactly what we wanted. And we'll go a little further here, and we will separate this out section by section. So let's go to solid shading, and we want to kind of mark out these sections that we're going to be pulling off based on his costume. So Deku has these legs that are like these leg guards that come up to above his knee. So we'll probably grab everything here, and there used to be a setting for, I don't really remember where it's at, to be honest. There used to be a setting in the select that would allow you to select through without being in wireframe. You could just like select, maybe this is it. So we grab all of that. Do we have everything selected? Yes, it is. All right, cool. So in Blender 2.82, now it's just this X-ray. So you just go in here, we'll do that. And we will actually hit P to separate by selection. And now we have a base 2. And this base 2 is now the shin guards. Okay, and then we will go ahead and we'll grab the arms and we'll rip the arms off. Now, normally he'd have like full-on gloves on, but this is Deku Infinite 100. So we are basically doing the final moments of Season 4 Infinite 100 episode, and he's only got short sleeves on. His costume has basically ripped itself to shreds. So we will leave X-ray on, grab the circle select, and we're gonna grab everything here. And then we'll do that on the same side, on the other side as well. So from the armpit, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So it should be like here, which that looks like that lines up. All right. Is that correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that one. There we go. That's better. All right, so now we can separate this out by selection, and these are now his arms. And then the final piece that we're gonna rip off is the neck and head. And then we will kind of configure this. So we'll grab to right about there, actually. And maybe we'll grow that by 1. Yeah, that looks good. And we will go ahead and separate that out by selection. And this is now his head. Okay, and that leaves us with the torso, which is now his uniform. Excuse me. So, Joan, how long have you been sculpting or doing 3D art? Okay, go ahead and turn off X-ray. And this is what we've got. So now that we've got everything kind of lined up like this, what we're going to do is we are going to delete one side of it, and we'll apply a mirror modifier. And the reason we're going to do that is so that way we only have to focus on one side. And we're going to do this with everything except the neck and head. So when we go to model these legs, we're only going to do one side. And I like working on the right-hand side, so we will delete everything on the left. And then we'll apply a mirror modifier. And there we go. And then we can move on to the uniform. and do the same thing. We'll grab everything to the left here, delete those vertices, and then add a mirror modifier. And this is just going to remove half the work that we have to do. So definitely something I highly recommend. And we should be good. Okay. So for the head, we're not going to pull those things apart. Instead, all we're going to do is fill in this bottom. So we'll just grab the bottom here, fill that in, and then I will hit I for the inset tool, and we'll just add an extra face on the bottom. And that'll be really helpful when we start sculpting it so we don't accidentally pull away the bottom of the mesh. And we'll do the same thing over here for the arms. Fill that in. And then inset. And the same thing up here for the top. Okay. And then for the uniform, we're going to have to do that in a couple of places. So let's hide the head, the arms, and the shin guards, and go into edit mode here. There we go. And this top reason here, we will fill that in, and then we can inset that. Now, I'm not sure if we'll keep that inset or not. In fact, actually, we're going to leave that open for now because this will be just kind of the neck and collar line. So we'll see how we want to combine that with the head and neck once that part is fully sculpted. But these two parts are fine because they're going to just interact with the clothing overall. All right. Cool. So I said we were going to sculpt Deku, so let's get started sculpting on this head. So once again, we will save everything, and then actually we'll throw all of these and duplicate them, and then move the duplicates down into the backups folder just in case. All right, and then we'll jump over to the sculpting workflow and start sculpting. But in order to do that, I got to put on my super janky smudge guard, an old Target glove that I just happened to cut apart. And we're going to turn on dynamic topology. We're going to set the dynamic topology to the brush detail because that allows me to have much better control. And then we will grab the inflate brush actually. So let us drop that strength down significantly because all we're going to do real quick is just add in some extra geometry, and then we'll use the snake hook brush to really shape the head here. Where are the options for sharing strength between brushes? They removed those options, I feel like, unless they put it in the properties panel. Nope, they didn't put it in the properties panel, which is not great. I'll have to look into that because those are now missing. Because we used to have the option to share the strength and the size and the color between all the brushes, and it was an option all the way up here, but now it's gone. And I don't know where they put it. And I don't know if that's just like we removed that entirely, or sorry, I'm just looking for this setting. I can't find it. So, oh well, not a big deal at this point in time. Okay, so Deku has a very, very sharp jawline. So that's what we're going to try to make happen right now. We'll drop this strength down significantly because I don't want to do anything too crazy at the moment. But he does have a very, very sharp, almost triangular chin, and that's just because he's an anime character, and that's kind of how anime characters roll. which is why sculpting anime characters can be really, really annoying. But he's got a very roundish head, so we can pull this up, pull that out. And you know what? We'll pull this down. It's not the greatest neck ever conceived, but for now it'll do. Okay, so we got a jawline out now, but his face doesn't look right, and that's because we just flattened everything out. So we're going to need to pull those pieces back out a little bit. And complete the illusion that he's a real person. Hope I have a rig tutorial. At this point in time, Joan, I do not have a rig tutorial, but it is in the plans to create. We've got a whole course on character creation. We've got a course on rigging, retopology, and animation stuff all lined up. But however quickly we can get those courses out is going to kind of depend on the editor and how much time I have to actually sit down and create them. But right now we're trying for like a video a week, and we're still finishing up the sculpting course. From there, it's in retopology and then into character creation, probably. Okay. All right, so now what we need to do, we need to create for ourselves little eye sockets. And I feel like the fastest way to do that is to grab the blob brush here and just kind of mark out where we want our eyes to be. And what we're going to do real quick, though, is we're going to change our annotation to not be on the 3D cursor, but rather on the surface of our mesh. And that's going to just allow us the option to draw directly on our show me the annotations. It's going to allow us the opportunity to draw directly on our mesh, so we can actually map out this whole thing, and we can kind of plan out the anime eye here, and then we can rotate around and it'll just stay in place, which is really, really useful. So let me grab once again that blob brush, drop our brush size down, increase our strength, and then punch that in. In fact, we'll even increase our strength a lot more, and we'll punch it in. Now, that's probably about as far back as I want to go. In fact, that might even be overkill, which is fine if it is, because you're going to start by over-exaggerating, and then we'll work into actually generating things correctly.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
All right, and then we'll pull out his nose, which not quite that big. Smooth that out.
We let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within. Dreamy, breezy, we
Okay, so the anime eye is good. The nose is a little thin. Oh, facial proportions. Or maybe the problem wasn't the... Okay, and honestly, the problem here is not necessarily the angle, but it's how wide the face is, or how rounded the face is. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take this in. Oh no! I don't want to damage that, so let's actually drop our radius down a bit. It's okay. I am gonna destroy that little eye a little bit, and that's okay. Okay. Face is too flat. And that head looks really strange. Sculpting tip number 1, always try to get your face shape correct before doing any other work. And so since we didn't do that, we're gonna go back to that drawing board and we're going to reshape this face. I always forget that step. It's weird, you know, like you get so used to it, you're like, it's fine, I'll get into it, everything will be okay. And then before you know it, you've forgotten the basic shape of your face, and you're like, how did I forget that step? That's like literally step number 1. Okay, that's better. That's a better overall face shape. Or head shape, I guess. But then we gotta, let's go ahead and bring this down, bring that. Okay, there we go. And now we can remove those, and that's fine. But his head isn't going to be that flat either. Or that rounded. It's going to be Probably about halfway between the two. So we kind of smooth. Maybe we did too much smoothing there. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's grab that scrape brush. Where are we at? Right here. Okay, so now we can draw. This is gonna end up looking robotic if I do it like that. When will I stream questions and answers? I've never thought about doing anything like that. I pretty much will answer questions while we're streaming like normal anyways. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask. I don't know if I'll ever do a normal or just a full stream on questions and answers. Unless that's something people want to see. Alright, now let's try this. We're going to go grab that blob brush and punch in our eyes. So we'll switch to the negative mode here and punch in our eye. I'm definitely not opposed to doing a questions and answers stream. It's just not something I've ever really even thought about doing. Someday you'll learn English. Dude, I'm sorry, my Spanish isn't good at all. But your English is fine. Your English is really good. Okay, I just feel like this head is too big. No, you're good, man. You're good. You don't have to apologize in this stream. Unless you say something, you know, super offensive or anything like that. But you didn't. Okay, so now that kind of fits. That kind of fits a little bit better. And now I feel like we can do his nose maybe a little bit better. How is this going to turn out, Sir Pinkbeard? I don't know. I don't know. We're giving it a shot, guys. That's what sculpting is, right? Like, you give it a shot. If you don't like it, you keep going till you like it. Or you scrap the whole thing and you start over and you realize that maybe sculpting isn't for you, and you throw your expensive sculpting tablet out the window and say, I'm never doing this again. And then you feel bad about that, so you go and pick it up and keep going. Yeah. Whichever. You know, whichever works for you. Okay. Now this is anime, so we don't have to get, like, lips, really. We just kind of have to make a... Shoot, we could even do... You know what we'll do? Here's what we'll do. We will just kind of make his mouth screaming like he's doing, which will make it a little bit easier. Gosh. It doesn't look right. Let me try to get a better picture of Deku's head here. Okay, so it's almost like his face should do something like that, like it's a heart-shaped face. So I don't know, sculpting anime, making anime look real is hard. It's hard. But dang it, I want a Deku model. So dang it, we're gonna sculpt a Deku model. But that's probably better. Right there. And then... There we go. Keep refining the face until you get it right. Yeah. I'm actually finally kind of happy with that face. So the hairline, though, the hairline is going to do something like this. So we're going to kind of get a rigid hairline, something like that. That's going to be the hairline. And actually, the hairline will even it'll come closer. Maybe something like that. And it'll just kind of come around. So if that's his hairline, then we can kind of better place everything else. So there's his chin, which he's got a bit pointier of a chin than that, so can pull this out just a bit, not too much further. Okay, and then go with the eyes, because the eyes are going to be super important. But let's go back to layout real quick. And we'll add in a UV sphere. Rotate that on the x-axis 90 degrees. Move it up to the head. And scale this sucker way down. I don't know, something like that maybe. We're gonna apply the scale here on that. And we're gonna mirror this across the face. Now, that looks positively creepy. But if we scale this on the x-axis to get us a bit more of the shape we want to go with, and then maybe move this back a bit, and then rotate that just a bit out. And then go back to sculpting on this head. Up, because that takes us to the origin point, and that's not where we're working. So, let's grab that blob brush again. And his mouth kind of goes like this, right? Yeah. So what we can do then oh, that's because it's the inflate brush. I was wondering what's going on. It's like, that's not working right, but... There we go. Okay, helps when you grab the right brush. So yeah, Joan, what questions were you trying to... What questions were you like, I need to ask him this? Let me see if I can answer if you're still around. We'll have to model teeth and put teeth in there, but maybe not. Maybe we'll just make him scream. And his eyes, we need to fix those eyes just a bit. Maybe move those a little bit closer. Yeah. So when we go into sculpting, let me go back. Where's my music? Change it up. Okay. Yeah, we have got to fix these eyes, but let's do this. Let's try to give him a more realistic face. Give him that cheekbone a little bit. That looks terrifying at the moment. It won't look terrifying by the time we're done, but it definitely looks terrifying right now. Because we want it to still be out there a little bit, but we don't want it to overpower. We need to fix this. This mouth should exist in that area. Oh, we have the eyes selected. Okay. It should be in this area, but I don't want it to be open like that. We will open it up with rigging. So, given the fact that he's not going to be screaming anymore, what we need to do is we need to move this face up. That's going to be better. So then, we kind of get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, Deku's got like such a tiny little anime mouth. That sounds weird to say. That sounds weird to say, guys. Don't. Tiny little anime mouth, but it's true. They do. It doesn't really have lips. So there's not like a ton of lippage going on here, but we have to give him some if we want it to be, we want it to be fair and kind of work a little bit. But if we're honest, this whole section then needs to kind of come out a bit. And then once we've done that, now we can kind of carve in that mouth area. Where is that scrape brush? There we go. That does not have the desired effect yet. See if I can find something. When in doubt, guys, always find better references. So let me see if I can check how this guy did it. Okay, yeah. His nose is pretty flat. In fact, that whole face is a lot flatter than I've got mine in general. Okay, well, I see some things that I can do to fix that up, so let's do those things. Always find better references. When you're stuck or you're not sure, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to solid. I just did all sorts of damage. And then that whole section should be... What if the eye was that, like... This whole section here was the eye. That might actually make it look significantly better. So let's scale this on the z-axis. Well, that definitely already gives it a more anime feel. For sure. For sure, that already significantly helps. And then there's not really a connection here. Or a distinction here. So let's smooth out that. Alright, and we will just kind of thin up this lip a bit more, smooth that out. Come on now, what was that? Alright. Okay, I'm actually happy with that. That's the general shape. And then he's got some pretty Pretty big ears coming up. But we need to move this jaw forward, I think. So we're gonna move this whole, so actually let's undo that. Use the grab brush, and then just take this whole thing and kind of move it forward. Which it is much easier to move all of that forward than it was to move everything backwards. Alright, so there's his face roughly, which means that we can now put his giant ear right there on the side of his head, and it'll work. But let's... Alright, let's go ahead and give him some ears. I feel like that'll be probably the best thing to do here. We'll give him some ears, and we will... I'm gonna say it's a little weird people liking this video. We're just like... It's a little weird people liking the video and then not talking. Maybe they just like it in general and they want to come back to it. Let's get this one. Okay, let's go ahead now and add in some ears. So what we want to do, Deku has these kind of comically large ears. They're gonna like start here and then go all the way up and then come down and connect like that. Maybe it doesn't connect all the way down there at the bottom. Maybe it connects like right here. So real quick, we'll just draw on some ears. Not a big deal. And this will get us the basic shape of it. And now that we have the basic shape, we can actually pull it out. But I don't like that. So instead of doing that, let's grab a new UV sphere here and go sculpt an ear out of that. And we can actually, let's drop that way down. Yeah, that's probably about ear size. And then jump into sculpting on it. Okay, ear shape is pretty easy. So we basically want to flatten it, so we can grab, just grab this whole side here, and we'll flatten our ear. Okay, and actually let's turn off this mirroring now, so I can generate an ear and an ear shape without having to worry about everything mirroring on the backside. Okay, so there's the back of our ear, no biggie, and then we can start on our ear, like overall shape. So there we go. That's basically the shape of an ear. It's pretty easy. It's just like a weirdly shaped oval, pretty much. Just like that. And then we can go in there with some real detail and everything. So, like, could come in here with a crease brush and crease along these edges to give us some real definition in our ear. And let's grab the flatten brush and we can flatten that out. Okay, and then this is where this will connect into the head. No biggie. We'll just add in some extra detail, like right here. Come here and maybe crease. Yeah, so easy to make them. Listen, no, there's nothing easy about doing anime anything. Yeah, so we'll actually, that's probably exactly what we'll do, user group. We'll probably boolean the ear union with the head once we're done. If not, we'll just leave it in place, and which wouldn't be a bad thing, because we can just leave it in place as its own separate thing, and then when we go to retop our Deku model, we could retop it all together. So here we go. Yeah, Francie, there's nothing easy about anime anything. Trying to turn anime into like a 3D model, just the proportions just are wrong. So unless you get it completely correct, you're just gonna be like, it's just wrong. Well, right now, user group, welcome to the stream, by the way. This is not really for a game or a movie or anything like that. This is really just, I thought, you know what? I want to sculpt Deku. Maybe I'll make a 3D model out of it. Maybe I'll use it to just get back into practice. Because even though I make tutorial videos on here, it's been a while since I've actually been able to put in the work for sculpting, because I have been changing jobs, and I stopped making tutorials for like 6 months so I could do my software development job. And so I'm just trying to get back into things right now, and I've got a course coming up on character sculpting, and so I'm just getting back into character sculpting, which, I'll be honest, sculpting is one of those things that I love, but making people is one of those things that I find incredibly difficult. So, you tried to make Nezuko from Demon Slayer, but the ears are the only thing I could do. You want to trade? I'll help you make your base and your character and everything. Yeah, I gotta get better. So this is really just about getting better. That's all this is. And that's all a lot of these streams are gonna be for a little bit, is just getting better, hanging out with people trying to get better, answering questions if people want to ask them. And do that before the course comes out. Alright, that is good enough. Alright, we're going to tab in edit mode, and we're going to move the point of origin a little bit better, so that when we rotate this along the z-axis, you can actually like pretend that it's actually a real ear. So now, we can take that sucker right up there. And that is a little big. Alright, and now that it's in place, we can actually better move the pieces where we want them to go. And I feel like shape this a little bit.
Let's go.
Alright, so we're just deflating this a little bit. We come in here with the smooth. Do I usually use the pinch brush? When it calls for it. So like if I were really trying to get this area to be super crisp, I would use the pinch brush. But no, I don't usually use it. But I guess that depends. So if I'm doing hard surface sculpting, if I'm like sculpting a robot or, you know, doing something metallic where there needs to be super fine edges, I'll use the pinch brush quite a bit. But otherwise, no, that doesn't happen much. The new 2D side scrape, is this multi-plane scrape? Oh, so that's what that does. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. I didn't know what that did, and I wasn't willing to use it until I knew what it did. So, yeah, that's actually pretty neat. I still can't see me using that a whole lot. Unless I'm doing hard surface, but that does seem really sweet for hard surface modeling. So user group, how long have you been, just showed you what it did. There you go. There you go. You're welcome. How long have you been doing 3D art? All right, let's take a look, see where we're at. Maybe something like that. We want to mirror the head. Since 2002-ish. You watch some guys and they used that the pinch brush a lot, or that multi-surface thing. Man, since 2002-ish. Dang. I wish. Yeah, I've only been doing this for like 2 years. 2.5 years, really? The pinch brush. Okay. And I enjoy it, but this isn't something that I get to do a whole lot of. When I started doing it, I was just teaching it, and I was teaching video game development. So I was like, here's how we use a tool, and then here's your assignment that you're gonna like learn this tool with, so you can actually make the character for your game and everything. But I spend most of my time working on code, so all right. There we go. I have done about as much on this face as I feel like doing today. So let's move on. Let's try something else out. All right, so let's go to this torso and kind of work on this a bit. Now Deku, not super muscular. Like he works out quite a bit, but his costume is not designed to show his muscles all that much. So what we need to do, we're just gonna go into sculpting. Actually, let's go into edit mode real quick. And I want to bring this closer because that's roughly the neck size. We're not really gonna do anything else with that neck size. So let's just go ahead and change our pivot point back to the median point and scale that in. But I want to turn clipping on, so that when I scale it, there we go. It stays locked to that middle axis there. There we go. Okay. And turn on proportional editing because I want to pull that out just a bit. I want to pull that out just a bit. And I feel like the head is significantly smaller than the body now. Because it is. So we can go ahead and let's turn off proportional editing. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go grab the head and the eyes and the ears, and we'll just scale it. Okay, that better fits. I guess. Yeah. Coding is a lot of fun, but coding is a lot different, right? Like, it's not like this in the least bit. So I kind of like the whole process of it. I'm in the process of opening up a production studio, and so we'll be doing video games and 3D art and animations and stuff. So I have to get better at it because I'm the lead artist right now, which is kind of scary. And my art is not very good because I don't have a ton of time to devote to it. All right, let's work on these boots a little bit. All right, there goes the wife. Okay, let's do Deku costume. You could do a coding stream someday, the basics. I might. I've done one in the past. I thought what would be really fun, this is kind of a dumb idea and I haven't really thought about implementing it, but something I thought would be really, really fun would be to do a drunk coding stream and like teach people how to code, and then every time I switch to a new topic, I take a shot, and just see how long I can keep going. And that might be a terrible decision, but it could be fun. It could be fun. Not sure if we'd be able to monetize that or not, but yeah, I used to teach programming, and I feel at my job I still do, to be honest. Okay, so Izuku's shoes are, at least the new ones, are steel plated. So we could model this whole thing, or we could break this down even further and just say, all right, we're gonna make a totally different shoe. What is this weird song? Let's move on. Let's get out of there. People on my Discord are strange. Wow, okay. Sorry, guys. I just got Discord notifications, and people in my Discord are weird. Especially my old students. Okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to try sculpting the shoe? Do we want to try... I don't know. Not quite sure, to be honest. Let's just keep working on these boots, I guess. All right, so we'll grab that and then control numpad plus. All right, and what we're doing, I guess, is just working towards trying to get that base. And we're eyeballing it at the moment, but we won't when we finally get to a point where we're... Let's do that right there. Rotate like that. Okay, and we can grab this whole thing and this whole thing right here. Oh, we don't want all of that. Let's do just these faces then. Just like that, with that. And scale Z0. And now we have a flat bottom. Okay, so with the flat bottom in place, we have a couple of things to notice. We need to see, we're actually going to have to rip this off the bottom. So let's do this right here. We'll grab all of that. Actually, we'll turn on X-ray first, and then we'll grab all of that, and then we'll separate that by selection. So now we have shin guards, and then these are boots. Okay, and we have to do that because these boots aren't gonna work otherwise. So we need to grab these, and these need to go out on that y-axis a bit more, something like right about there, and we'll add an extra edge loop in. There we go. Now these suckers have a lot of detail, and they actually have three kind of layers to them. We have the, let's see if I try to get close up on his new boots. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. What, Francie, what was smart? What are you saying was smart? Okay, and actually what we need to do, we need to move this back a bit on the Y. Could honestly probably try to dissolve that vertex there. And join those. What do you mean we couldn't connect? Alright, cool. Fill that. Is there no face there? That's why. Alright, no biggie. Switch to vertex selection. Fill a face there. You know what? I need F2. Let me grab an extra plugin real quick. Oh yeah, definitely better than using the mask there. We'll turn that in. Whoa ho ho. Why would you create that? Okay. Alright, F2 isn't going to help me there, I suppose. But we can fill that. And then we can do the same thing here. So actually, let's delete that face and delete this face. Fill that. And fill that. Okay, so we have the kind of base ring here, which, let me grab this whole edge loop. And if we're looking at this from the front, I want to scale this. Actually, I want to leave it in place. I want to scale this bottom one out. To give us a wider base here. Okay, no problems with that. Look at that from the right. Okay, and with the subdivisions, we have the beginning of our boot here. But what we really want, I guess, overall, we actually want to grab this whole face loop with these. Let's turn off X-ray. I don't need it right now. And we want to rip these off. So Shift D to duplicate. Right click to leave in place. No, that's not what we want to do. We want to then grab the rip region. Why can't you? Just grab all the vertices I want to rip. There we go. That's not bad. That's what we wanted to do. Now we've ripped that off, which is great. And so what we have is the ability now to grab this entire edge loop and scale this out a bit. Then we grab this one, scale this in a bit, and then scale Z0 and kind of hide that in the boot. And that'll give us our two layers, because Deku's shoes have they have like a normal shoe layer, and then on the outside they have this metal iron kind of casing on them. So let's go ahead and scale that in just a bit. Move this up to right about there. And we can grab this internal region. Can I? Can I grab that? Scale that in just a bit. That way it doesn't intersect with our faces. Okay. And yeah, that's probably pretty good there. Actually, let's grab the whole thing. And there's really no reason for these faces anymore, so realistically, we don't want to have any partial face loops if we can avoid it. Alright, we're gonna skip this too. Okay. So, what we want to do so part of it, I'm thinking ahead for rigging, right? So these boots, like I'm just modeling them. I'm not going to sculpt these boots at all. So I'm going to try to just think about how I'm going to rig that up as I'm doing it. And then other, like the face, I'm just going to have to retop when we get to that point. The arms and the hands, I'm going to have to retop when we get to that point. But so the answer is yes and no. But these boots, I don't plan to sculpt these boots in any way, shape, or form. So. Ah, okay, that's pretty cool. Actually, I didn't realize you could do that. Sorry, there's like extra really cool stuff for the stream that I didn't realize was there. Have I used Instamesh for retopo? No, I have not. What I use is shoot, what is the name? There's a Blender plugin that's really, really cool. It's called Retopo Flow. Retopo Flow is amazing for Blender. So that's what I use. And Francie, we will do some retopo probably. Retopo is like really, really boring. So it's kind of hard to like, yeah, I'm totally gonna do this retopology, guys. No one's gonna want to watch that. But maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. No, it is not free. Retopo Flow is about like $80. But in my opinion, it's worth it. If you have to do any sort of like regular retopology in Blender, Retopo Flow is absolutely worth it. Like it's a game changer when it comes to retopology time. Okay, so that's basically that. We can turn off the subdivision surface modifier for the moment because now it's time to actually design these metal pieces. So it looks like there is a heel to these shoes. So we're gonna have a small heel. It's not a very big one. It doesn't go in but it's not entirely flat. Gosh, reference images on anime for particular character parts are hard to come by. I have to watch a GIF like 100 times just to be able to see all these pieces. You need something that really lets you place poles and flow where you want it to. Yeah, check out Retopo Flow. It's literally amazing. All right, I've seen that GIF 3 or 4 times. I think I get where this heel is on this thing. So we're gonna add in an extra edge loop right there. That's fine. And then these are gonna be the pieces. So I don't want to extrude and leave that in place. What we want to do is we want to just pull all of those up. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this face and this face. Actually, let's try to grab all of these and see if we can just. But if we pull them all up like that, it doesn't quite work the way we want it to. So, and insetting those faces isn't really gonna do anything for us. Because it would be super easy, right? It would be super easy just to go, all right, let's grab all of these and then extrude them slightly. And then do the same thing here. So we'll grab all of these. And what we need to, let's turn on snapping, not to increment, but to vertex. And then extrude, and then snap it there. That would be like, that's super easy, right? But I'm not, I don't love that. I guess I don't have to love it. That works. So it's fine, but I don't like it. Which, whatever, Beard, it worked. Get over yourself. I should continue to tell myself, just like, deal with it. It worked. Oh, let's turn off snapping. Okay, so we have the bottom of our boot, that's fine. And from here, we need the iron top. But I want to protect those edges. So what we'll do is we'll come in here with edge guarding. And we will guard the top and the bottom. Cool. And actually, you know what? Because we don't care that much about it, let's just do this. Let's undo all of that. Because there's got to be a better way. Drop that one there, which is going to keep the piece fine. But I don't like that. I would want that to continue. Down a little bit. I don't know. That is worth looking into, I guess. Maybe something like that. Yeah, that's okay. What I really want, I guess, is that sharp edge right here. And the only way I'm gonna get that is by doing that. So we got some weird stuff going on. I guess I'll just do what I did before. Add one there and there. It's fine. It's not what I wanted. It's not perfect, but that's okay. It's okay. And then what we actually need to do, we're going to grab these faces right here over to this side. And we'll duplicate them and scale them out just a bit. Rotate them along the x-axis so they go down a tad bit. And then we'll need to scale these down. Something like that. And connect them, something like that. And we can dissolve that edge. Okay. Because Deku's got these like 3 type of ring rollover pieces that go into his model. And so actually let's do this. Let us, no, thank you very much. There we go. I don't know why. And we will add, we'll go into the object data, vertex group, we'll call this guard 1. And we'll assign it there. And then add a solidify modifier, but we only want it to affect guard 1. And then we can increase our thickness here. And then we have number 1. Where am I from? I am from South Florida. From South Florida. I hope to never go back there. But it wasn't a bad place to grow up. Okay, so we've got the beginnings of our boot piece here. In fact, actually, let's do this. We'll grab the whole thing. We'll rotate that on the x-axis just a bit. And then we'll duplicate. And then we'll duplicate again. And so now we have his boot thing. Where am I living now? I am living up in Minnesota. A good 1,800 miles from where I grew up. But you're from Brazil. Well. Dude, isn't the internet great? Like, you can be in Brazil, you can be in the southern hemisphere, I can be in the northern hemisphere, and we can talk to each other. That's fantastic. It's like the best part about the internet. Okay, so we've got the... It is a huge temperature difference. User group. I got used to cold in Florida being like 50 degrees, and moving up here, I now understand that true cold is -20, -30. Not great. Not great. It's weird that like my parents will talk and they'll be like, yeah, we're having a cold front. It's like 60 degrees down here. And I am just stunned. I'm stunned. I'm like, guys, that's not even close to, it's not even close to cold. But, you know, they're both from there, so I guess I get it. Oh, we want to move that whole thing over on the x-axis there, so it actually like rims the shoe. So yeah, the cold has been nice. I like the cold. I don't know. I like it. My wife is from the island though. She's from Puerto Rico. So like Minnesota is way too cold for her. She is not a happy camper about the cold. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna delete these, or we're gonna dissolve those edges. Yep. And then I'm gonna match these things up. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in the heat, so the heat's nice, but I don't know. I guess I've always liked cold weather a little bit better. But we're going back down to Florida soon. I'm gonna go see family. Haven't seen them in a while, so it's time. Okay, that's kind of okay that's an okay start for the boots, I think. So we've got his face kind of good. Now we can model this this shin guard, and I think that's where I'll call it done. So we'll do this shin guard, and then we'll call it done. So new reference for the shin guard. There we go. Fantastic. His shin guards are a weird design. No, that's a bad reference image. There we go. That's better. Okay, so it's basically like he's got these... It's basically like normal shin guards until you get to right up at his knee when it's just this giant chunk of metal. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do. Let's grab these faces, and actually, let's just grab this one. Turn on proportional editing, and we will scale it down. You live in Sao Paulo. The weather here, it's just like, it's more in the morning it's cold, in the afternoon it's raining a lot with a hot weather, and at night it's cold with rain and tornadoes. Man, that's crazy. But that'd be nice though. Cool in the morning, not so cool in the afternoon. That'd be great. Yeah, that would be pretty nice actually. Kind of wish that's what we had. Instead, like this week it's been exceptionally warm, and when I say warm I mean like it hit 35, and after the winter, which was a super warm winter, I was ready, but other people were. All right, let's hide this torso. Other people were saying like, the winter, this weather was like, it's too warm for this time of year or whatever. I don't know. I liked it. That's what mattered. Okay, so right here is when, let's just say, the big chunk of junk, turn off that, actually shows up. So we'll extrude that out and grab this edge ring, just move it down a bit. That's fine. So he gets this big chunk of junk right there. I guess maybe he's like protecting his knee, or maybe that's where it's just to brace his leg or something. I don't know. I don't quite get his character design or his costume design, other than the fact that it was supposed to emulate his hero, but it doesn't make a ton of sense fighting wise. Or at least it doesn't to me. I feel like there are a lot of things that it could have been other than what it was. So, okay, so now that we've done that huge chunk, we can kind of take this up and out a bit. Because anime. You know what? That's fair. Because anime, it's the... Makes sense. But the design is dumb. Oh, it's not dumb. It's not a dumb design. But it does... There we go. That's like his entire shin guard right there. And then we can go into the torso and hide these shin guards, and then Ooh, with the subdivision surface on that, we need some cleanup work. Yeah, that auto smooth option is pretty great, man. It's definitely worth checking out. It saved my... It makes your models just look nicer overall. Need to go in here. Turn on proportional editing a bit. Scale that down even further just so it fits inside the shin guards. There we go. That's fine. All right, let's bring those boots back. And what we're going to do is we're going to scale. We're going to turn off proportional editing, scale this down just so it kind of lines up a little bit better, and then move this down so that it fits inside the boots. So now we've got boots, we've got shin guards. I'm just looking, that's basically what we've got. Or what he has. Okay. As I'm doing this, I'm like, there's a lot of things that I need some practice on. And I could make a whole series on creating just clothing items. Whole series of content just on clothing items. But okay, so after what we've been up, we've been hanging out for how long now? 2 hours, 2.5 hours. This is what we've got, which makes it seem like we don't have a lot, because I guess we kind of don't. We'll come back to this for sure. We'll come back to this, but I feel like the next stream, what I really need to do is get some practice modeling. We need to do some stream practices. So we're gonna get some practice doing modeling clothing, armor pieces, weapons, things like that. And then we'll do some sculpting practices on faces and everything, and then we'll come back to Deku, because I don't want to do my boy Deku wrong. And honestly, I've just spent 2.5 hours, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with it. The boots are okay. They're not terrible, but notice the language I'm using, right? They're not terrible. I'm not saying they're good. And I don't want to be satisfied with something that I'm not proud of. So the next stream, guaranteed the next stream, I'll be back on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I'll be back for sure. But if I can swing it, I'll probably be back on Saturday. So we'll be here. And then we've got content coming out throughout the week. So look forward for that. But right now we're just working on the sculpting courses. So at some point in the next stream, we'll probably be doing some practices. Be doing all my streams here now. We're not doing Twitch anymore. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's been good. And I appreciate it. And I hope to see you guys next Tuesday for sure. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and save this. We'll come back to it. Maybe we'll start over. I'm not entirely sure. But we'll figure it out. So thanks for hanging out, everyone. I will see you guys next Tuesday.